Okay, so if you have ever seen the movie Jaws, and who hasn't, you remember the scene where Robert Shaw crushes a beer can. Well, this is the beer can that he crushes. Kind of. I guess it's a little bit of a contemporary look to it. This is Narragansett Lager. I've heard for years about this beer. I don't know when it made its appearance in Pennsylvania, but it's really cheap for a six-pack of pints. Six-pack of pints was like $4.50, something like that. And it might be cheaper where you are. I don't know, but that's mind-boggling how cheap this beer was, considering it's a pretty decent score for an American Adjunct on Beer Advocate. It gets like an okay score, which is like unbelievable for an American Adjunct. We're talking about like the Natty Lights and the the Millers or I guess more like the Coors Banquet stuff like that would be more of the American Adjunct. But this one of the higher rated for the style. It's a 5% ABV beer. Narragansett Brewing Company had its roots in Cranston, Rhode Island. It was founded back in 1890 and was a staple in New England for years and years up until, I'm going to guess the 60s, 70s. It was the largest brewery in New England, and everyone knew about Narragansett, the lager. And actually, the Red Sox announcer was a big-time endorser of Narragansett. His name was Kurt Gowdy. And he was famous for the ad slogan, "Hi neighbor, have a Gansett." And actually, it's written on the beer. However, they are now, I believe, a subsidiary of Genesee Brewing, and it's no longer brewed, at least the lager portion of it. Some of their craft beers are still brewed in Rhode Island. However, their lager, and I think they have a light beer or something like that. The mass brewed stuff is brewed by Genesee. In Rochester, New York. So this, I'm assuming, was brewed in Rochester, and I think the building was probably, Narragansett Brewing Company, Rochester, New York. I'm sure people in New England that grew up with Narragansett probably are cringing at me saying that. But anyway, let's open this up and see what we got here. They say they use 6-row malt seedless hops, corn from Iowa, okay, and purest water from Lake Ontario and Huron. So 2 of the Great Lakes water is what they use in this. Isn't there salt in those lakes? I don't know. Anyway, let's pour into this glass and see what we got here. And we see a fairly dark pour for an adjunct. This is not kind of the pale pour that you can get with this style of beer. It's almost like a Yingling kind of look to it. Maybe a little bit lighter than that. Very, very thin head. Very dissipating kind of head to it, as you can see, and it's almost a thin film, somewhat see-through. But you know what? It is like a darker, a little bit of a darker beer. Maybe not quite that much. I don't know. On second thought. So let's get the aroma. Definitely getting that corn, that adjunct kind of smell that you're used to. Not too awful though. Decent aroma, maybe a tiny bit of syrup in that. So let's get the taste now. Yeah, this is a full taste. And a smooth taste as well. It's got a little bit of a bite to it, but not really that, it's very smooth. And this could be the best American Adjunct that I've ever had. The freshness is on point. All the ingredients, I know they're cheap ingredients, but they're really mingling really well. So I'm gonna go ahead and give Narragansett Lager a 10. I'm gonna give it a perfect score for the style. So that's the key here. I'm not giving it a 10 like compared to Russian River or something like that. So don't worry. I'm giving it a 10 in the style of American Adjunct Lager. So don't kill me on the reviews. But I think a lot of people like Narragansett, so I don't think I'm going to be killed too much at least. But this is a very, very decent beer, and for the price, for like $4.50 for a 6-pack of Pounders, you cannot beat that at all. So 10 out of 10 for Narragansett Lager.